Hey, my name is Mateusz, and welcome to my Getting Started with React 16 tutorial. So, I watched my previous video, my very first video on YouTube, and actually I see that the voice isn't perfect, so I will try to improve it today. And today I'm going to talk about implementing testing suite with Jest. So, the way of testing React apps. Actually, Facebook released the framework called Jest to a natural environment for testing React applications. And today I'm going to talk about it, how to implement it within your application, because there are some problems with this implementation. It's not that straightforward to use it, especially with TypeScript, as I want to implement it. So this tutorial is for React 16. I guess lower version of React also will work with this solution. You just will need to change the enzyme library, but yeah, let's get started. So the very first thing we need to know, we need to do, we need to install Jest. We install Jest as a development dependency, as we will run our tests only as during development. During for continuous integration, but it will not be included in the end application production environment. Now we install Jest, and in the meanwhile, we can actually configure Jest in package.json. Package.json file we need to just add configuration for Jest in whatever place. It can be here, whenever we want. It has to be in the first level tree of the tree. And we need to specify two things. So first one is module file extension, as we are using a bit custom implementation. So we need to have TypeScript TSX files, so TypeScript files with JSX syntax, and maybe JS, I'm not sure about this. Actually, JS has to be included here, so not forget it. This must be here. Otherwise, it will not work. Transformation, and now we need to specify something like a regex that we look for whatever file. You will find this code within in the repository. I will include it under the video, so I will just copy this thing here from So we need to specify the transformation file where we are going to process our TypeScript code. So, to use Jest, actually Jest is a JavaScript library. TypeScript is not really the language. You have to transpile TypeScript to JavaScript to use it. So we need to set up the preprocessor for this. It's like Babel ES625, right? Yeah, I don't want to talk about this within this video. I will just copy my code. It's just simple processing script. So, if there is a file which ends with TS ending, TSX or JS, it will be transpiled through TypeScript transpiler and convert to JavaScript. So src, it returns the end source code, right? And we also used our TS configuration from here. Yeah, compiler options. Yeah, exactly. So we can save this file. You can find it on some website. I took it from the internet. It's not my code. I forgot from where, but yeah. And the next thing, we need to specify the files which will match to our test. and also I copy it, but you know, as you see, we will look for everything what is in underscore underscore test underscore underscore test directory. I mean everything, every file with extension ts, tsx, or js. As far as I remember, we have to specify js. That's if we don't do this, it's not going to work anyway. So just check. We need to check is it. Oh, okay, I forgot the comma. Why it's not work? Ah, that's correct. Compare. Can I somehow merge these files here? I don't know how to resolve conflict with this tool. I want to have this here. Okay. And we also need to specify the command to run this test, right? So I will just replace this command, which actually, does nothing. Right now it just throws an error. Now, so it's node modules, just basic command to run jest. It's funny. I forgot to say. Module file extensions, it's an array. I just copied it without checking. As you see, now it works. Just it couldn't find any files, so let's check is it really working. So just create a directory in client tests underscore underscore just underscore underscore and just random spec file. Now, to differentiate tests, you usually call another extension level to the file names like index.spec.ts, so it's text for the index files to make them, to differentiate them, right? It's actually not really test for index file. I just wanted to show you something. And now I will write simple test 2 plus 2 equals 4 in TypeScript. So actually we want to check is it really working with TypeScript. And const a, it's a number, equals to, and we also have const b which equals to. And now we have to add assertion that it actually works. 2b, actually 2b4 is enough. Let's check it out as it's working. It doesn't, but it doesn't. Syntax error. It looks like our configuration file isn't valid. What's the problem? Position 171. It can't have any comments. JSON files can't have any comments, can contain any comments, so it works. As you see, our test was running and it's green. 2 plus 2 equals 4 in TypeScript. And of course, you can't add the types in normal JavaScript. So so far so good. And now as it works, we can actually start to configure tests for React Code. As you know, to test this component is not that trivial without special tools like actually React specifies some utilities for React 16, but they also advise that RBRX has released a testing utility called Enzyme. So we are going to use Enzyme as it rocks. It's really great. It's super easy to configure, and yeah, I really love it. So let's come back to our console, and now npm install. We need to install as dev dependency as we run only tests. We need to install Enzyme. We need to install types for Enzyme, as you know we are using TypeScript, so we need some typings. And now actually Enzyme introduced some adapters for each React. So if you're using React 16, you are going to use this adapter. If you're using React 15, you are going to use this adapter. So now we can actually let me copy this. It will be much easier. And now there is one other cross dependency, I guess, called render. No, it's called React test renderer. Yes, this is really needed. Actually, I don't know why it's needed, because there is an experimental render provider for having the shallow render. But as I see, Enzyme is built upon this, so yeah, we need to also install this because it's not going to work without this. So far, so good. Now, what we need to do? You know, all files are supposed to have like single responsible rule. I don't know. Do you know solid principle? This doesn't matter, but more or less it means that single responsibility principle. So each class is supposed to have one responsibility. So in this case, we should actually extract this hello to the different file. It makes testing easier, because I don't really want to call render, and it just makes it easier. So I will create a directory with components. I will create here hello tsx, yeah, and I'm going to just move this code here. According to my knowledge, I don't need to React DOM here. You remember that you need to include this at the top, but you don't probably need all of them. But here actually we need all of them. And I'm going to import this component which are created in the component directory. I'm going to import it here. Import hello component from components hello. Okay, it doesn't have, so it's written here that it has no default export, so I need to actually export this class. Okay, so far so good, it's green. Okay, now I will just move this test here. So the test directory is supposed to be on the I mean, in Jest there is like a approach to keep test files together. So instead of having like on the lower hierarchy directory with all the tests, you just keep tests close to your file, so you don't need to use long imports, like for example something like double dot double dot. So it's a really cool approach in terms of testing. So all modules are close and so on. It's much, in my opinion, it's really good approach. It's the way how it's supposed to be done. And now, as I move the directory into the components tree, the components directory, I see them here, I will just rename this component name to hello.spec. And you know, I just need to go how to test. Whatever. Let's more or less I know how to do this. So the next thing is actually we need to import React to our test right now. And we also need to import our component called hello from, hello. And now we need to import, we are going to use shallow rendering for this component as it's a dump component. So dump component is the component which doesn't have a clue about the state of other components, doesn't process any data, it's just to display some information. It's really dump, as it says. That's really important. But I wanted to talk more about shallow rendering. So shallow rendering actually is used to test the component as a unit. So it's really hard. You don't include Redux here and stuff like this. It's really, you just render this component and you're going to test the stuff within this component. Like for example, in this case, what this component does, it just renders the hello text, right? Hello heading. So in this case, I will just put the test called it renders the heading. That's all what this component does. And actually, now we can specify the component, right? And we are going to use shallow rendering to render this component. Just hello. And now we have rendered this component to this variable, the constant. And now we expect that this component contain, let's say this h1 hello h1 text, right? That's what we actually want to test. If it contains it, it's expected to be true. I just wonder why it is that's really interesting. Because it thinks that it's okay. Let me run this because I don't really know why it's not working. I forgot to configure enzyme. There is information that I must specify this code, right? So I'm going just to create a test setup file because it's the easiest way to do this. And sorry, I don't know how to mute myself. And I'm just going to configure enzyme. So I need to import enzyme, and I also need to import some adapter. And as I said, in my case, it's enzyme adapter React 16. And of course, just this line to make it work. Small letter, lowercase, uppercase, yeah, cool. Looks good to me. No, not here. And now I need to specify the setup file, because you need to tell just to use my setup files. So I will look for this file in the root directory, and the file is called test setup.js, right? Let's see, is it still working? It probably doesn't, but that's interesting. Oh, wrong file extension. It's TSX code. So you need to be careful when you call your files, because it's really important. But it's still needed to configure this enzyme test. Wait a minute. In line 5. Okay, this line, but I'm not sure why. Maybe. So just context root setup.js. The funny thing, it's supposed to be working. And that's the heading, shallow rendering. That's really interesting, because it's not correctly processed. Okay, preprocessor. Maybe I will try to Might be a problem with cache. Cache directory. Sorry, I have cold and just I hope you are not listening to this video in the head speakers. That's super interesting. Vim install. I will try to install our dependencies because sometimes this may cause a problem. And in this case, this is really strange. Still, to be trophy. Really interesting thing is actually why it considers it as now it works. So there was some problem with caching. Doesn't matter. Let's go forward. As you see, there is, this is green, so actually this component actually contains this text, h1 hello, so the heading, and it must be true. If it isn't, then it will be red, right? Exactly. Expected to be trophy, and it was false. Doesn't matter. See, now let's try to get rid of this warning that React actually depends on request animation frame, so we just don't want to see it. Actually, I found one way to hide this, and unfortunately it requires us to create one other file called test shim file, where we actually are going to add this request animation frame, which is required for React. So as you see, it means actually that it just doesn't contain this request animation frame. If you want to know more information about this, you can just copy it and open. This page has moved. Yeah, there is information that actually React requires map and set, so we need to have them if we use older version of IE 10.11, and also it requires request animation frame, and this is the solution for this. So I will actually add the code here. it's important to know why it's added here. So when you write the comments, it's really important why you are doing this. I mean, if some code looks strange, it's really important to let other people know why you are doing this, because yeah. And actually, we need to add this file to our package.json, so actually it will be used. And you need to add it before the test setup. So that's the way how to make it work. Now we have our test running without any problems. I know I'm going to talk about shell rendering and stuff like this. We'll talk about this later. I just wanted to show you how to configure it in this video tutorial. I promise to record more explanation in future videos. No. Now actually, let's check, is it still working? So I'm building the application right now. This is important because as you see, the Jest is included into the build files, and actually this is one problem with Jest. So in TypeScript no skip leap check. I actually need to add this flag. So actually it doesn't check for all file declaration in definitions. Unfortunately, I need to do this because other way around it, otherwise the Jest is not going to work through. So I won't be able to build this file. And now you see it's green, and what I need to do is I want to open this file. That's not what I wanted. We'll put it seems that it still works, hopefully. Cool, important information. What I want to do, sources. Yeah, so far so good, it works. The last thing actually to our configuration, what we need is to add some styles. Yeah, because this application will really look dark and ugly. So this is like the last thing what we need to install is some processors for Webpack, which actually will allow us to use which will process the scripts and allow us to include the styles within the application. So we need to install extract text Webpack plugin, which actually allows us to include text files in here, like is require blah 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 take text file. So currently we can't do this, and we need to install also the style loader. This the name says it's style loader, CSS loader, and I want to use Sass in this project. So I need to install the Sass loader and node Sass. It's really a wrapper for Sass parser. Okay, I'm going to continue because it's just installing stuff. So I actually found that I have one problem with this. It's supposed to be source map, not source maps. Probably it wasn't working. So the next thing is resolution, extension resolution. So we need to add Sass files here as CSS. This is one thing. The next thing is we actually need to include this file as this plugin here, because its configuration also here. The configuration, because it's like external plugin. So we need to add here extract text plugin, and here we have to put the target file, target bundle.css, CSS, right? Correct. Now the next thing we need to do, we need to also specify the loader. So we'll look for only for Sass files, right? CSS files. And as a loader, we are going to use extract text plugin loader. And I need to specify here just basic configuration. Just if you need to know something about this, just Google it. Really, it's basic configuration. If you need to know more, just do it. Now let's check it out. Can I really build the application? Maybe I can anymore. We will see. I can build it, but I don't have any CSS files, probably because I didn't include them. I didn't create them, and I don't have them. So I will create the styles directory in the src client directory. Yeah, obviously styles are related to the client, not to the server. And I will just create main style file, style CSS. And just to put some content here, I want to have my HR read. It just, and if I specify this, I will still not have it. So actually I need to include this file also, for example, here. So yeah, include styles into the app. So this actually says to render this files to the application, because if I'm not going to do this, my webpack will be exactly the same. It will want to build these files. You don't, and if I uncomment it, I have them. You see the difference? There are much more stuff here. You see these files were pre-processed. Looks good to me. I have also even source maps for this. It's great. And next thing, actually, I will add them to my code just that I can see them. Yeah, let's add head section. let's put the title open job list and link ref I guess bundle CSS will be working. Let's specify this is style sheet. Let's try it out. I don't know. Maybe oh, it worked. And also we have a title right now. Before we didn't have it, now we have it. Cool. And actually that's what I wanted to show you in this episode. Sorry, I have cold, so my voice isn't perfect and I need to cough all the time. I'm really trying to improve the voice, but it's really hard with my microphone, and to avoid to do these things like and stuff like this. Hope it's not annoying. It's just my second video. I'm really trying to improve. Yeah. The next episode probably will start ready to work on our server application, so stay tuned and I don't know, subscribe my channel. Yeah. Thank you. See you next time.